So the song Let It Flow just came out, and we just kind of wanted to pick your brain and see what you thought about it, kind of tell us where the idea of all this came from.
First of all, you guys surprised me. It was a great surprise. As we've talked about before, you guys know back in 2014, my mom and dad passed away. And one of the things that was very important to him before he passed was he wanted to see one more move of God, just one more powerful move of God. And he would say it over and over. Before he passed away, the Lord gave him a series of dreams, 3 dreams, and he would get up each time he had a dream and he would write it on paper. And so the first page, you see this picture of this river, but it's not that big. The second page, the river's bigger. By the third page, he's writing on there, the vision is too big to put on paper, right? And so he shared that with me. I read that. I thought, what does that mean? Looked at that. The Lord was moving in our church. Then prophetically, there was a word given one day about that river, about a river that flows down the center of the aisle, that anybody that wanted to get in could get in at any time. And what we have noticed from that is that is happening. So when you guys sang that song on Sunday, first of all, I didn't know it was coming, but it was so surreal to me because I'm seeing come to life these dreams that he had, that he passed on to me. And to hear that you guys had written this and produced this was amazing, because you're just like a son to me, and you're just like a daughter to me. In fact, you actually are my daughter. And so there was that third generation of him and the vision, and it was on paper, passed down to me knowing the word and prophesying about it, and then the Lord giving you guys the idea to write that song. And so whenever I heard that song Sunday, about how that it flows and how that anybody gets in, their life has changed, they're never going to be the same, it just brought all that back to me. And I know that if he and my mother were here, they would have been beaming from ear to ear to see that continues to go forward, and that it is true that anytime a person steps in that river, they're never the same again. Their life has changed from then on.
Well, when we kind of started the idea of talking about writing songs as a worship team, one of the main things we wanted to accomplish was capturing the heart of our people, and also taking things that you have spoken over our church and bringing that to life through music. And so in that planning process for the 25th anniversary, we thought it would be really awesome to write the song about the river, because you've referenced it frequently over the last 6 months, and I thought, man, that would be so cool to bring that to life on that day. And so we just started getting together and putting these words down, and we brought it together, and it happened so quickly once we began that process of writing. It didn't probably take us over an hour and a half to write it from start to finish, and there was very little that we had to even go back and change after we started that. And so there's no denying that it was just it was words that
well,
God,
it was anointed. When it's anointed, the Lord gives it to you, and it just pours forth.
Yeah, because what we did was we before we kind of started, we looked up throughout the Bible where it talked about the river and what all that represented, and we got to Revelation and talked about how the river, everything it touches, it brings new life, and it does. So we started focusing on everything that it said that it did, and we wanted to kind of convey that, because that's what we expect when we come in here and we get into that river. People's lives are changed. The streams of living water come crashing over us, and we're revived and we're restored. Once we just sat down and started writing, the melody came, the words came, and it just flowed. For lack of a better word, it just came. Yeah. And it was cool because just like everything else in our church, everybody's on the same page all the time with mostly everything we do. And so I had mentioned this to Colby one night over in the youth room, and he was like, "That's a cool idea." And so I never said anything else to him about it. A couple of days later, he calls me and said, "Hey, I've got the whole board on the phone right now, and we're talking about you doing this song. Just give me a little more information about it." So I told him what he wanted to know. 10 minutes later, he called me back, said, "Everybody on the boards thinks this is awesome. Go do it." And so that was on a weekend. And so that next Wednesday night, we were in the studio. Myself and a few musicians got in there. We did a scratch track, laid down all the instrumentation. Next night, brought the whole team in. There was about 10 people in all vocally that sang on this. So all of our worship team almost was there, and we sang that, and then Heather followed it up doing her just her vocal track there at the end. But man, one thing that I thought was really cool in production of it was the guy that was producing it was Jason Miller from Red Barn Studios. The second time through that he heard it, he was singing it. So like just listening through it, kind of getting an idea of where we were going and what we wanted to do, we noticed that he started singing it, and I was kind of looking at Heather to see if she was noticing it, and we kind of smiling back and forth, because that's our ultimate goal, was to not just write a song that was meaningful, but write a song that people could really get a hold of, and sing it.
I can't get it out of my head. I mean, it's been this is several days now, and I just continue to listen to it over and over in my head, in my spirit.
And I think just the most powerful thing, like Heather said, what we've done is we have captured the heart of our church. And I think that anybody that comes here that's experienced this river can identify so much with the words of this song. And I think each one of us at one time or another have experienced that river in one of these ways. And that's why I think this song is so powerful.
I am thrilled to have a worship team here at our own church that's actually writing and producing their own music, and I think it's a reflection of our church. But there's something special about your own team writing out of their heart and out of their spirit the things that are happening in our own lives. So I thought you guys did a great job. Let it flow.